In this video, we're going to compare the Philips Hue Signe to the Govee Lyra LED floor lamp. These are two very similar looking lights, but they have a very big price difference. The Philips Hue Signe costs about $330 and the Govee Lyra costs anywhere from $100 to $150, depending on if you catch it on sale or not. In this video, we're going to break down the similarities and the differences between these two lights, and we're going to come up with some scenarios in which I would recommend buying each light. Now, I want to start off this video by saying I love both of these lights. They both look really cool. They're sleek, they're modern, they're minimal, and the colors on them all look great. They both support gradient colors, as you can see in the background, which means that they can go seamlessly from one color to the next, just fading perfectly. If you want to check the current price of the Hue Signe and the Govee Lyra, I have links for both of these in the description below, so be sure to check those out. Let's start off by talking about the looks of the fixture. The Hue Signe comes in black, white, or oak, and the Lyra only comes in a silver white combo. The Lyra comes in a small box and it requires a ton of assembly. You have to attach all the different sections together and slot the LED strip in and put a bunch of screws in it too. But the Signe comes in a very large box and it's already fully assembled, so to set it up, all you have to do is plug it in and you're ready to go. This is an advantage for the Signe because there's no breaks in the section. It's a fully seamless lamp, while on the back of the Lyra you can see where the different sections come together and there's just small lines, which is not a huge difference, but it does give the Signe a very premium look. They both have a tall base, and I find that the Hue base looks just a little bit sleeker because it's just one cylinder, while the Govee Lyra has a slightly bigger base and it goes up at an angle. The Signe measures 57.5 inches tall altogether with a diameter of 4.5 inches at the base, while the Lyra measures 55 inches tall and the base has a diameter of 5.5 inches. The Signe also has a longer LED section. It measures 49.5 inches long, while the Lyra LEDs measure 47.5 inches long. So I think the Signe wins the battle of sleekness and minimalism, as there's no assembly required and it's got a totally seamless look. So the Signe looks just a little bit better than the Lyra in my opinion. So next, let's talk about app control. Both the Lyra and the Signe both have their own independent apps, whereas the Hue requires a bridge to be used without using the Bluetooth, using it locally, but the Lyra can use Wi-Fi or Bluetooth and no bridge is required. So this saves you some more money if you're going for the Govee light. Now, the Govee light supports Amazon, Alexa, and Google Home, but it does not support HomeKit. But the Philips Hue Signe supports Alexa, Google Home, and Apple HomeKit as long as you have the Hue bridge. So there is an added expense, but that feature works flawlessly. I have been able to make the Lyra work with HomeKit though by using a home bridge, but this is an extra expense and is kind of complicated to set up. So I would not buy the Lyra for Apple HomeKit purposes unless you're very well versed in using a home bridge or something like that to bridge the Govee lights over to Apple HomeKit. So next, talking about apps, both lights have apps. There's the Govee Home app and there's the Philips Hue app for the Signe. I personally prefer the Philips Hue app over the Govee app because it's just a little bit more streamlined and easier to use. Now, the Philips Hue app wasn't always this easy to use, and Philips Hue has been around for quite a while now, so they have the advantage of having time to refine the app experience, where the Govee stuff is a little bit newer. You can control a lot more individual sections of the Govee light than you can on the Signe, but it can be kind of overwhelming to go through all the different presets and settings on the Govee app. So the Govee Lyra is better if you want to do a lot of tweaking and adjusting settings, but the Hue app is just a lot easier to use, and I really like the way they integrate rooms and automations versus the way that you set them up on the Govee app. So with the Lyra, you get the advantages of not needing a hub and being able to connect directly to Wi-Fi, as well as way more control and effects and settings on their app. But with the Hue Signe, you get a lot more simplicity. So it's just a little bit easier and more enjoyable to use the light, in my opinion. But I may be biased because I've been using Hue products for a long time. Also, talking about control, the Govee Lyra includes a remote that lets you control pretty much every parameter, including activating effects on the light. And with the Hue Signe, there's just no easy way to do this. You have to set up a remote and pair it with the bridge, and there's just more setup involved. Those remotes are basically only good for changing through preset settings, turning the light off and on, and adjusting the brightness. But Govee does a really good job at giving you control of pretty much every parameter you want using the remote. Now, if we compare the actual quality of light of the fixtures, the Govee Lyra is quite a bit brighter than the Hue Signe. Even though the Hue Signe says it has a brighter lumens output, I noticed significantly brighter LEDs in the Lyra. The Signe is plenty bright, but this just allows the Lyra to stand out a little bit more during the daytime, or just to spread even more light across the corner of a room or a wall. So I gotta give the light brightness win to the Lyra. If you compare the gradients, I think that the Hue gradients look a little bit smoother than the Govee gradients do. This just means that you see less banding and less individual colors, and it seems like a smoother transition from one color to the next. Even though Govee does let you change more of the different zones on the light, I think that the gradients on the Hue light look a little bit better than the Govee light. Comparing the quality of light, they both can do a really good job at producing all different color temperatures of white because they both have a warm and a cool white LED built into them. So it's pretty much a toss-up as to which one has a better quality of white light. I do prefer the Philips accuracy a little bit better, and I think it goes up to 7,500 kelvins, whereas the Govee Lyra only goes up to 6,500 kelvins, so you can get more of a daylight look out of the Hue. So let's tie it all together. Both lights look really great, whether you're pointing them directly out or they're facing a wall. I find that with the Lyra, you can see the individual LEDs just a little bit more than you can on the Hue Signe, but the difference is pretty much negligible. To me, the Hue Signe wins the battle between the two in terms of overall quality of light, ease of use of the app, the sleekness of the light, and just the quality that the light screams when you open it and you see it in person. But it costs so much more than the Lyra, and it makes it really hard for me to recommend the Hue Signe just because it's 2 to 3 times more expensive than a single Lyra. And once I got one of these lights, I immediately thought, oh, I want more of these lights. So the cost can really add up fast when you're in the world of smart home lighting. So to me, that's the reason why the Lyra is honestly a better pick than the Hue Signe, just because you can buy more of these lights without spending as much as the Hue Signe. I would recommend going with the Hue Signe if you want the sleekest, nicest looking, most minimal light that has better app control and is just a little bit easier to use. But I would recommend going for the Lyra if you want to save money and build up a collection of the lights, because then you get more used to the app. Also, if you're not using any of the Hue Sync products, then the Lyra is a very attractive option too, because you don't have to worry about integrating it with your existing setup. But if you're using Hue entertainment zones and Hue Sync boxes for TV or home theater purposes, then you really have to go with the Signe just so it can integrate with your setup perfectly. Additionally, if you're all in on Hue, I would definitely save the money up and go with the Hue Signe just so you can keep everything in the same app. But if you're using Google Home or Amazon Alexa and using a lot of voice control to control your lights, then the Govee Lyra would be a great option for you too. To tie it all up, I really like both of the lights, and while I think the Signe is better, I don't think it's worth twice the price in comparison to the Govee Lyra. I would recommend saving money and buying more of the Govee Lyra lights unless you really want to be all in on the Philips Hue setup, or if you're using the Hue Sync entertainment zones, then definitely get the Hue Signe. Or if you just want the most sleek, amazing looking light, save the money up and go for the Signe, because you definitely won't be disappointed. Just try to forget about the price tag on it. If you're interested in buying either of these two lights, I have links in the description below, so check those out. And if you have any questions or anything you think I missed on these lights, leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching this video. Give it a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any upcoming content.